KRCB, Green Treks Network. On the next episode of Natural Heroes,
the more experiences that the kids have in nature, I think the more they grow to care for it. These are urban kids, so this is sometimes for them the very first time that they've ever had a chance to be away from the urban environment.
When I learned about the fungus consuming trees and turning them into soil, that's when I got the fact that everything in here in IslandWood is great.
Major funding for Natural Heroes is provided by General Hydroponics, bringing nature and technology together to feed a hungry world while protecting soil and water resources.
And by the Sierra Club, more than 1 million natural heroes committed to promoting smart energy solutions and dedicated to exploring, enjoying, and protecting the planet.
To be out here is really relaxing, you know? It like relieves your stress.
At school, you only get to be outside for probably like 30 minutes, but out here, you get to stay out here all day.
There's really lots of trees, because where I live, there's not that much.
Hi, I'm Simran Sethi. We all know that being outside in nature is good for kids, but for a lot of them, it doesn't happen very often. Many children grow up in a world of television, video games, and pavement. And for them, spending quality time outside means a quick recess on an asphalt playground. Studies show that besides promoting physical and emotional health, spending time in the natural world engages children in learning and inspires them to care about the world around them. On an island in the Pacific Northwest near Seattle is a leading proponent of this kind of outdoor experience, a school in the woods called IslandWood. Each week, over 90 4th and 5th graders from neighboring elementary schools spend 4 days on the 255-acre campus to explore the diverse ecosystems and rediscover their connections to the natural world. Oftentimes, it changes their lives.
Dear Journal, today we arrived at the center. I hope it will be a good experience for me.
Good morning.
My name is Natalie Bonvay, and I'm 9 years old. When I first came here for the first time, I didn't know what to expect, but this is a really nice place. I really like how everybody has windows. It really looks like you're in the forest. My name is Vidang. After we eat, we scrape all the compost into the compost bin. Then we put these weights on one arm, and then the bucket of food on the other. It tells us how much we've been wasting and that we should conserve more and eat what we take. In the morning, all the kids split up to do different things.
This is one of my favorites.
Today we did storytelling, and that made me think about how the Native Americans were here on this island and probably in the same spot as where this center is.
So this is a transmitter. We now have 6 birds that have these transmitters. I think kids don't always have a chance to participate in something real. You guys ready?
Yeah!
All right, let's go. Let's go down this path.
I see some of the kids who don't really participate in school very much, really participating actively. They're just so involved in what's happening and doing that hands-on learning. And I think they're finally seeing, that learning is something more than just worksheets and books. It's about exploring. It's about excitement.
Where is she? Oh, right behind us. She snuck in behind us.
Oh my gosh. I saw the real owl, and she was really pretty. It was a nice sight. I like the animals. I feel like I'm closer to them now.
This is an opportunity for them to not only discover who they are, to discover where their strength comes from, what their weaknesses are, but to also have their eyes open as if a veil has been removed for them to sort of like find out, I can do this, I can be this. What is exciting for me is that an opportunity like that could change the life of the kids.
Nature was our first teacher. But that lesson has been all but forgotten in our rush to teach, test, and mold students to fit into our current educational system. Many children have difficulty learning in a tightly structured environment of desks, rows, and tardy bells. But experience-based education programs successfully engage students with the hands-on approach. Nature becomes a living classroom, and educators and naturalists become guides to encourage curiosity, exploration, and learning. Studies show that this approach gets students excited about learning, raises academic test scores, and improves concentration and cognitive development. It takes a lot of work, but at the core, creating inspiration begins with inspiration.
The inspiration really came from the land and seeing this beautiful place. I woke up on a Sunday morning and had a very clear idea of what should be done here. We should build a school in the woods where kids could come and learn about the natural and cultural history of Puget Sound. The beginning of the project was really more a process about gathering information. In the first 2 years, I probably conducted about 70 different focus groups with historians, artists, the kids.
We have a very exciting and unique opportunity to build an outdoor residential environmental education center from the ground up.
The next year I spent traveling to 25 other facilities around the U.S. and found some that were really models for us. I tried to take the best from each center that I visited.
That our clients in this project are the kids in the environment, and together as a team we're going to serve these clients.
What we've ended up with is truly a world-class model, both around the design because of the sustainable architectural aspects, as well as the curriculum. Because kids were really our biggest customer, we decided to ask them what they thought.
So this morning, what we're looking for help from you all on is how to make that place extra special.
We ended up asking 250 children in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade if they could build a school in the woods. What would they want to do when they got there, and where would they want to sleep?
Well, their ideas are really what has created the magic for this place.
This is really a project that's about community, and it's a project that's for the community.
Many children don't have the opportunity to get away from their daily urban lives due to economic challenges and other factors. Their visit to an outdoor learning center may be the first time they actually spend a night in the woods and get their hands in the dirt. Sometimes the students aren't sure they want to be away from familiar surroundings, but something happens after a few days immersed in nature. Curiosity takes over, and learning becomes fun. And that's an experience that should be available to all children, regardless of their socioeconomic status.
For many of these kids, that is their first exposure to really an environmental situation like a forest, and they've never experienced anything like it.
At home, we don't really have a big area to go outside.
In IslandWood, there's fresh air, a lot of forests, and it's very cool. Hey, Calvin. What are you catching?
Maybe you can draw the eagle that we saw just a while ago.
I like the part when we went night hiking. We saw animals that we didn't see in the daytime, like owls.
You saw owls?
Yeah, they flew by. And we heard frogs. That was fun.
You can really hear the wildness. You can really hear the environment.
I haven't heard those frog sounds at my house before.
I learned about producers and consumers and all that stuff too.
I like how the instructor teached us, and how we went to the art studio and did some art.
What we call participatory learning is particularly useful because it gives you one more way of cementing that knowledge in your brain. And it's a lot more fun. When you do something, you remember it. The best way to know if you know something is to teach it. And the children, in fact, are learning and then teaching each other.
How was it yesterday? Did you get very wet?
No, it started to rain.
It gives them another way of looking at the world. That the world is not all cars and blacktop and tall buildings and houses and people.
I would like to live somewhere here, just that quiet.
I never really went out in the woods like this for a long time, so it's real different for me.
I think differently. See, if I go outside, I look at all these things, and if I see some kind of hole near something, I'll look in it and see if there's any animals and interesting things about it.
It makes me feel open, being free.
When I'm a college student, I'd really want to come back here and teach.
If you can inspire one kid to treat the world differently, when that kid grows up, what will they do with their life and what will they do for the world?
When children are outdoors, they become aware of their connection to nature and better understand the importance of protecting it. Global climate change shows that our actions can have enormous effect on the future of this planet. It's important for us to work together using fewer natural resources in what we do and what we build. Here at IslandWood, all the buildings were designed from the ground up to use almost 30% less energy and water than traditional structures. And the buildings weren't just designed for shelter. They were designed to teach as well.
When we began the project, one of the ideas was to use architecture as education so that the buildings did more than contain programs or hold people, but they were an opportunity to help teach about sustainability, about the natural world.
The ones up there, is that what divides one from another?
Yes. In this case, it was really about how do we create buildings in which 4th and 5th graders would have an impact in their life that they could carry home and tell others.
You can even feel like the bump. You can feel the texture.
The buildings are a textbook. The buildings are things that they can operate. They can learn which direction is north, which direction is south. They can learn how the wind moves, learn how the sun moves, and learn about how to be better stewards of the environment.
Tell me about the floors. There were bamboo floors, and they looked really cool and they were really smooth. They use bamboo because the bamboo grows faster.
The cool thing about the building that I saw was that some of the countertops were made out of recycled yogurt containers and lids.
What?
We wanted to make sure that there were places that were a lot of fun.
Some of the ways that we did that was going in and talking to children in the classroom. Many of the ideas that the kids had were integrated. For example, one idea was the floating classroom. They wanted to be able to pull themselves out into this 4-acre pond that we had and to do this much like Huck Finn style raft. They wanted to go across suspension bridges. They wanted classrooms that were tree houses. Those children's ideas have probably created the greatest piece of the magic here.
One of our goals was to make all the environmental aspects visible.
Did anybody actually use the compost toilets here?
Yeah, I did.
We put stairs so the kids were able to go down, and not only we could have access to it, but the kids would be able to see where the waste is going and be able to understand how that process is working.
All right, well, let's check it out.
Oh, man!
Why do you suppose plants are growing in the wastewater?
The living machine, the kids are able to walk through and see that process happening.
Did anybody see a fish yet?
No. Well, there's no one right there.
Okay.
The living machine is pretty cool because it helps dirty water get clean again.
We really hope that the kids take away and understanding that although they may live in the urban world, that the natural world plays a very important part in sustaining their life and their family and community's life.
I'm definitely going to try a lot harder to conserve water.
I'll probably recycle more and not waste food.
I liked going on the suspension bridge because I'm scared of heights and I faced my fears.
For these students, getting outdoors may increase personal growth and confidence, but it doesn't end there. Back at school, teachers reinforce and continue the experience. For students, their newfound appreciation and awareness is a seed carried into their homes to develop and grow.
My name's Joe Petrick, and I am an IslandWood grad student.
Hey, as we're walking down this trail, be looking out for some little creatures.
I think my fondest hope is to make connections with a lot of students and to inspire students to go out and make a difference in their communities and share their knowledge and their excitement about learning with other people, and to spread that and get that fire kind of lit inside people, that they can really make a difference. It's really up to them. One school I've worked with is Bailey Gatzert, and they've taken the idea of stewardship back to their schools.
Now, there are the correct amount of pieces in here so that everyone will be able to build the birdhouses. There's no leftovers. The students really have taken an interest in birds, especially from trying to follow Gracie the owl around IslandWood. And I think it's going to be a very important thing to have these birdhouses out around the school so that we can make it a little bit more of a natural habitat.
So the hole that you make, which side is it going to go to? That one? Okay. And which bird is it?
A nuthatch.
Another classroom is working with a garden. Like, what were you guys doing?
Well, we were first trying to think about IslandWood and our neighborhood habitat.
They're looking at ways they can go into that garden and bring some of the knowledge that they had formed through investigating the natural world of IslandWood back to the natural world of Bailey Gatzard.
My ultimate goal for kids coming through here is for them to have fun and to be awakened. Our hope is that through those kinds of experiences that children will become good stewards of their communities and their environments.
One of the things we do in a garden is we mulch our beds. That is, we put things over the top of them because rain can wash the soil away.
We studied land and water in the classroom, and we'd done numerous experiments with erosion. They didn't connect, but as soon as they realized that that had to do with plants and soil sliding, I think it somehow made more sense to them.
Okay, on your mark, get set,
go.
Go!
In the classroom, we don't get dirty, and out here we do. It's fun.
Gardens are one part of IslandWood that you definitely can transplant back to your home community, because everybody can have a garden, whether it's in a pot, whether it's at your school or it's at your home or it's in a community garden. So it's an exciting possibility for children.
At our school, kids are definitely more kinesthetic learners. We deal with that by having PE quite a bit, activities, always doing some sort of hands-on activity, whether it be in math or science, just to get them up and moving around. So the garden's great.
When I'm in the garden, I feel more like a learning machine. It makes me feel happy, more adventurous, more learning. I wanted to do a garden so we wouldn't have to go to the grocery store and buy the things we like. And I thought it would be better to have a garden in our backyard for me and my family.
When we do gardening together, we are able to have a tight conversation. Sometimes being quiet and calm brings up the moments of asking questions. And sometimes they're afraid to ask or maybe embarrassed. I want to be his best friend. And I think gardening is a good start.
Being out with my dad feels fun because I haven't been with him for a while because he works late and I learn more about him. I would like to be like him when I grow up because he's a fun dad and I want to be a fun dad like him.
Sometimes when we are little kids, we want to be like our dad. But sometimes when we are older and we see our kids, we want to be like them.
Thank you.
If a small thing like a garden can make such a huge difference, imagine a world where children everywhere have the experience of spending time outdoors. The opportunity to use nature as a classroom exists no matter where you live. So go ahead, turn off the TV, get off the couch, and discover the immense education that exists beyond your front door.
Major funding for Natural Heroes is provided by General Hydroponics, bringing nature and technology together to feed a hungry world while protecting soil and water resources.
And by the Sierra Club, more than 1 million natural heroes committed to promoting smart energy solutions and dedicated to exploring, enjoying, and protecting the planet.
For more information about Natural Heroes, to purchase videos, or to submit your film, visit naturalheroestv.org or call 1-800-287-2722. Green Treks Network. KRCB